Welcome to the Hive Mind podcast, where the collective wisdom of the travel industry helps you match travelers with the right destinations and the right hotels. I'm your host, Whitney Schindler, founder and CEO of The Hive, a platform designed to give travel advisors organized, actionable insights they can put to work right away. Each week, I sit down for focused, real-world conversations with travel advisors, hoteliers, and supplier partners who know these places inside and out. We break down how each hotel is best suited to a specific client profile, take quick deep dives into destinations, and share pro tips to help you make the most of the Hive. And here's the best part. You don't need to take notes while you listen. Go about your day, tune in, and know that every insight from these conversations is already captured and organized inside the Hive. So it's there when you actually need it. And if you aren't already on the Hive, you can get resources from this and other episodes when you join our newsletter at thehive.travel/podcast. Today, we have a new episode of The Essentials, a deep dive all about helping you not just understand a destination, but feel it, the energy, the vibe, and the nuance that make it unique. Trusted destination partners share key details that matter most and help paint an overall picture that will inspire you as you present the destination to clients. When you bring a destination to life with confidence and clarity, you build trust, you spark excitement, and you make it that much easier for your clients to say yes. Joining us today to talk about Western Sicily and Agrigento is Dario Piparo, the sales manager and destination specialist at Essence of Sicily. Let's dive in. Dario, it's so wonderful to have you on the podcast and so great to meet you.
My pleasure, Whitney. Thank you so much for having me here. I love the podcast and I'm so happy and proud to be part of it.
Wonderful. So today we're going to talk about Western Sicily, the Trapani area specifically, and a little bit of Agrigento. But before we dive right into those details, I want to take a step back and hear a little bit about your perspective on Sicily as a destination and also how you're connected to Sicily. Are you from there? Do you live there? Do you have family there? Have you just been there a long time? Like, what's your personal connection to Sicily?
So for my researches, I have at least 8 generations from Agrigento, which is my town.
Okay.
So I was
Okay.
born and raised here and I'm 100% Sicilian apparently. But yeah, to say Sicilian, it's like controversial because, Sicily had so many cultures and history and, population being here that it's like, it makes a Sicilian melting pot. But yeah, I am
Yes.
Sicilian.
Okay. Wow. 8 generations from Agrigento, which is what we're discussing today. So I didn't even realize that. That's amazing. So how, for anyone who hasn't yet visited Sicily or who hasn't yet sent clients to Sicily, how would you describe Sicily? And is it Italy? Is it just another region in Italy? Is it completely different? Do you feel like there needs to be a bit of a conversation with advisors or with travelers who are coming to Sicily in sort of to kind of prepare them for what they might experience and how that might differ from what they're expecting? Can you give us a little of your perspective on Sicily as a destination and who it's really, really great for?
Beautiful question. I mean, a lot of people say that Sicily is the condensation of Italy. So you really have maybe one word that describes Sicily better than anyone else, and then it's variety. Sicily is the most various place in Italy because you have really here a very complex history that is very different than anywhere else in Italy. We had basically everyone ruling Sicily, from Phoenicians, Greek, Romans, Arabs, Normans, French, Spanish, Austrians, like everyone has been here and everyone left something, meaning that our culture, our traditions, even our dialect, Sicilian, and everything that composes our island is the fruit of these melting pot and all this history. So it makes Sicily different than other parts of Italy. Italy is very nice because it's complex and you have different regions. Any single region has, its differences, as you very well know. Sicily, in this matter, has a sense of identity that is very easily possible to distinguish rather than any other place. But yeah, it's a tricky question because a lot of time when I go abroad, and Sicilians, when they go abroad, generally speaking, when we are asked, where are you from? Like the first answer you provide is Sicily. And then you say Italy. It's not like a matter of separation. We feel Italian. We're proud to be Italians. But at the same time, you have this strong identity about the island because of that. You have a different way. You have different traditions. You even have different gastronomy. So like a lot of elements are different in this matter.
Amazing. So, when it comes to visitors wanting to explore Sicily, do you generally find, let's say that this is not for anyone coming for genealogical, we have family from Sicily reasons, right? Let's, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
that. And I think that those are kind of separate instances. So if we just really consider travelers who are saying, we've heard Sicily's great, let's plan a trip there, do you ever, let's see, like advise or advise against someone coming to Sicily if they've never been to Italy? Do you feel like it's a better second or third trip to Italy? Or do you feel like it's a great first trip, but it's just going to be very, I mean, I tell everyone when you go to Italy, I could plan 10 trips to Italy and you would never repeat the same thing twice. And every single trip is going to be super different from the languages and the food and the history. So I already talk about this in mainland Italy, but I just think like, is there any type of conversation that you have with clients when they're coming to Sicily for the first time and you're trying to understand what they already know about Italy or what they don't know or what they're expecting?
Well, other great question, and I'll try to summarize that. I guess that our listeners and your listeners and viewers already know that I am super biased. So,
Of course, it's
everything,
okay.
yeah, it's absolutely normal, but I'll try to be more objective as possible. And I'm going to tell you that Sicily, it's very complex and sometimes misunderstood because it's positioning in a travel. Again, the variety of Sicily is the more interesting, in my opinion, that you have anywhere else in Italy. So if you picture Rome in your head, you see something. If you picture Florence, you see something. If you picture Sicily, you don't. It's a mosaic. It's like all these texture or things and differences that makes
Hmm.
Sicily not a side trip. Sicily is not a side trip where
Right.
you actually go sometimes just there for a few days. That's right. So you really have the possibility to have a door within Italy. So a lot of time, like if people are worried, I might come to Sicily, but maybe I'm not getting Italy, actually is the opposite. You have a very good door of variety of things that you can see anywhere else, like in Italy as well,
Hmm.
all in the same territory. I'm going to put some examples. You have some beautiful beaches for sure. Maybe not at the level, honestly, of Sardinia or some parts of Salento in the south of Puglia, but you have great
Hmm.
beaches. You have great mountains that sometimes some landscapes on the Madonia Mountains or on the Nebrodi really recall Dolomites or like Trentino Alto Adige. You have the highest volcano in Europe and Asia, which is Mount Etna. You really have a differentiation and a variety in the territory that everywhere you go, any 20 minutes on a car, you see something different and you see
Hmm.
Italy shaping in this little territory. So
Hmm.
little, because it's the largest region in Italy and the largest island in the Mediterranean. So it's pretty large, but this variety makes sense. You see every day something different, which is our job as well, providing what Sicily has to offer. That is its variety. And in this matter as well, I think that in my opinion makes a difference are people, because I guess that the islands, generally speaking, and for sociological reasons and so on, has a strongest preservation of their traditions. So maybe Sicily and Sardinia as well are strongest in terms of preservations of their identity and their way. So you can definitely have a touch of it. And if you go mingle with the people, if you have experiences in touch with locals in all the different parts and areas of Sicily, you have a complexion of a travel that is absolutely Italy in a lot of shapes. In a place where you have places that are very crowded and very touristic and
Hmm.
areas that are totally genuine and preserved. So
Sure.
this is the
Sure.
thing that a lot of time I try to transmit. The first misunderstanding generally is that Sicily is a beach destination because it is an island, but you have beaches, that's right, but actually it's not the main focus because Sicily is a cultural destination. You have 7
Right. Yeah.
UNESCO World Sites in a single island.
Hmm.
You have millenary traditions like the card making or like the puppet show. So this completion a lot of time is, easy and at the same time tough to explain and to have people to understand. But yeah.
Sure. I think the most important point that you've made is that it's not a side destination. It's generally not a Venice, Florence, Rome, Sicily trip. It's usually a Sicily trip. And I've had very, very few clients do just a few nights in Sicily because usually there's just so much to see and do that you need multiple stops. I mean, you could fill 2 or 3 full weeks in Sicily if you wanted to. So I do think that that
If
is
I
what makes
can,
Sicily
Whitney,
very unique.
yeah, to complete that, I mean, I'm Sicilian and biased, but not stupid. So if I were a foreigner who comes for the first time to Italy, I would definitely want to go to Rome, to Florence, to Venice, because they are amazing and beautiful. But in my opinion, you can do that even in 1 week. Are places where you actually more check the box to visit that, but not because they are made like that. Tons of visitors and people that go there, so it makes sense. You can have a part of the trip like this, and then you can actually merge and you can actually deep dive in another destination that gives you more the sense of the place. So a lot of
Hmm.
time for first timers, in my opinion, a combination between the mainland and Sicily is perfect as a trip, like where you actually go away and you keep everything in your heart. Other than, of course, it all depends all the time of the amount of time they have. But I agree with you in the vision that it is not a lateral trip. It's
Hmm.
something that you have to make
Hmm.
to have a completion.
The Hive is our industry's collective memory, capturing hotel details and advisor insights so we can all grow smarter together. Learn more at thehive.travel. So let's go ahead and dive into Western Sicily and the kind of Agrigento area. I'm just pulling up a map now so we can actually have a look at it just to describe or kind of show where it is exactly that we're talking about. So here, can you see my screen here? Yeah,
I
perfect.
can.
Okay. So here's Sicily, and we're kind of looking, let's see, Trapani's up here. I want to open this bigger. I don't know why. I feel like Google Maps changed recently, and every time I want to open it bigger, it doesn't want me to do it. I'm gonna do the amateur way here.
Yeah.
This is what I want. Google, you're
Old
supposed to know what I
fashioned. Old
want.
fashioned is a
Oh
lot of
my.
time better. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We've got Sicily. And if we zoom in a little bit on Western Sicily, we have Trapani here. And
Yeah.
then where's Agrigento? Here it is. So then we've got Agrigento here. So we're kind
Exactly.
of going to
There
discuss
you go.
everything from, let's see, here all the way over up to here. So tell me a little bit about this region because as we were discussing, Sicily is so large. It is a trip that you could just go to Sicily and spend 8 or 10 or 12 or 14 or more days. So for clients who, let's say, they generally have a 10-day trip planned, is Western Sicily and Agrigento a region that is included, is kind of a must-see highlight included on all itineraries, or is it more of a niche region that we only work in, when the interests are there, when the time is there? Like, how do you generally see this region worked into itineraries?
So, generally speaking, when I'm asked what's the best itinerary of Sicily, my genuine answer is I don't know. It depends totally on the client characteristics. So, trying to figure what any single area means and what kind of vibes they can provide. Of course, you can understand how much of it you can put within a custom-made itinerary for the clients. This part of Sicily, and it's worth it to talk about it, in my opinion, is way more underestimated and way more like, kind of neglected or ignored by the general and the main touristic itinerary and plans. But at the same time, you really have maybe for that reason the most genuine part of Sicily because you don't really have mass tourism, is not technically on the map, and you have better prices and the standards, so the value for money is way higher. But at the same time, you really have a lot of choices and a lot of things to do. If I can summarize that, I would say that Western Sicily, so Trapani area, so the total western coast, it becomes more elemental, I would say. You have salt, wind, stone, wet wine. See, it's more in touch with the elements of Sicily and more in touch with the people of Sicily. So from like an highlights point of view, in that part you have like some of the most interesting, in my opinion, little towns. Erice, for instance, which is this little town on the top of the hill overlooking the Trapani area, is a medieval town where you have, it doesn't make sense in Sicily because it looks like put in Sicily out of nowhere. It looks like a little Umbria town or like Emilia
Interesting.
Romagna town. Yeah. And you have this medieval, structure and architecture. And also you do have a huge symbolism because according to Roman mythology was the place where Venus was born. So you have Venus symbolism everywhere in the town, and you have one of the best pastry tastings that you can have in Sicily over there, especially at Maria Grammatico, which is a little bar run by this woman who used to be a nun, and she decided to live there her monastic life because her passion was pastry, and for the last 50 years she has been like a cornerstone in pastry production in Sicily. So you have this little town. You have the salt ponds in Marsala. The salt ponds are maybe naturalistically one of the most beautiful spectacle because the water turns pink. You have flamingos over there. You have this spectacular scenario with Mozia, which is a little island that is like 5 minutes with the right boat from the salt ponds, which is a Phoenician area. So you have a little museum over there with Phoenician heritage. And other than being naturalistically very interesting, it's absolutely interesting in terms of the salt production because they do make salt the way it used to be made 2000 years ago. So it's a place that has this kind of magic. Other than that, this area, and nobody knows that, or like few people know that, it's the most characteristics in terms of heritage because the Arab heritage over there is still very present. We had the Arabic domination for 200 years, from the year
Okay.
800 to the year 1000 in Sicily.
Mhm.
But over there, it's crazy because you really have a little town called Mazzara del Vallo, where the city downtown is a kasbah, a medina, like in North
Wow.
Africa. And I'm gonna put this on the table. I guess it's the only place in Italy where pasta and pizza are not the main course. In the western part of Sicily, the main course is couscous, the Sicilian
Wow.
couscous. Very North African in terms of
Yeah.
tradition of heritage. It's Sicily, but with this kind of Arabic heritage that is still intact or like very present, which is, it makes the variety and the differentiation that you can get in other areas. Then you
Yeah.
have little islands like Favignana, which allegedly is going to be very famous during this year because the Odyssey from Christopher Nolan was shot in this island in Favignana, and it's very beautiful, secluded, beautiful beaches,
Yeah.
beautiful caves, and you can reach it, easily in 30 minutes with a boat ride from Trapani. So a tour in Favignana and Levanto is absolutely beautiful. A boat tour, you can do that in a day.
Cool.
It's magical. Then you have the Selinunte Archaeological Park and Segesta Temple. These are all in the Greek sense and matter of Sicily. So other than the Valley of the Temples in Agrigento, we will talk about that later, you have these archaeological parks, especially the Selinunte one in the
This one.
southwestern part is the largest archaeological park in Italy. And over there you have these temples
Wow.
overlooking the sea that are beautiful. Yeah, I mean, so you really have a lot of choice. And for wine lovers, I'm sure that a lot of people knows Marsala wine. The Marsala wine comes from the town of Marsala, which is in the western part of Sicily, where you actually have this great wine production, and they are very famous because of that. So in the last years, they've had like 30, 40 years, they have this amazing production of wine, very well known worldwide, and but the tradition like dates back a long time ago. But yeah, so you really have farm to table experiences in there. So the thing is, you have a lot of options there. You can actually spend 5, 6, 7 nights only in that region and
Yeah.
having to do everything, like having to do every day something. I'm not meaning that you have to stay there for 7 nights. I understand, and Sicily is so layered that I wouldn't do that myself. But it's a part that is growing, and for clients who really want something off the beaten path, really different than the
Hmm.
ordinary, and in touch more with the local feeling, and more authentic and true Sicily, you gotta go there. You gotta include it. Maybe on the way in a transfer from Palermo to Agrigento for a day experience, or even better, if you wanna, deep dive a little bit more for a couple of nights.
So, what you described is Trapani, Marsala, down to the archaeological park, over to the island. Is there one kind of central place that you would have clients stay in a hotel and then just kind of do day trips if they did stay in the area for 3 or 4 nights?
Being crystal clear, this has been always the main problem in our business because you haven't had so far like a lot of options in terms of hospitality in that part of Sicily. But in the last
Hmm.
year has been growing a little bit more some options that could be like the more of the central place. There is not like a main
Okay.
town. The largest is Trapani, which is a big town, but at the same time, like the main place would be where the hospitality allows to have clients in. And places like Baioneto or Almar, Giardino di Costanza, Baio Soria, Racalia are all little boutique hotels or hotels that allow ourselves to have better options in the last years to have our clients comfortably with a very good sense of place and again at the same time better prices. I'm saying that because this allows Sicily to have this variety in this matter as well. So it's not
Hmm.
only various in things but also in prices, so you can have a very good creativity and balance a trip with different kind of budgets, with different kind of will, so that you can actually decide where you put your clients doing the right routes and optimize everything, which in our job is
Yeah.
important as well.
Yeah, I know in other regions of Sicily, there are some of the highest end, most well-known luxurious hotel brands available, but I guess it's important to understand that on the Western side, I mean, usually they go hand in hand, right? Usually a client that is really looking for an off the beaten path kind of unique perspective and to stay in an area that is less touristy is also quite open to, you know, hospitality options that are smaller, more locally owned, have that local sense of character without the over the top luxury. So usually that works, but it still is a good note to be able to manage expectations and kind of paint the picture for clients for sure.
You said spot on. I mean, you said it right. The meaning is having options. When you know that Sicily has options, you can understand that every kind of client can do Sicily in a comfortable and meaningful way. And a lot of budget points, a lot of views and possibilities. So luckily is a
Hmm.
product, is my land, but also I'm lucky to work with a product that has a lot of options. And this is very
Hmm.
important in our business.
Shall we move on to the Agrigento area, or am I moving too quickly?
No, I'm with pleasure. I'm in Agrigento right now, so please
Amazing.
come over and be my guest.
This is amazing. So this is an area that I do see included more often on itineraries, and it kind of feels like if you're gonna do Eastern Sicily and then, like, one day or just a night or 2 that's further to the west, it's usually Agrigento. That's just my experience that I've seen on itineraries. Can you tell everyone, for those, who are listening who don't really know anything about Sicily yet and who are kind of learning for the first time, what is Agrigento? Why is it important? Why is it kind of the introduction to Western Sicily that we do see more commonly on itineraries?
So Agrigento, if we were talking about Western Sicily in terms of genuinity, local touch, and so Agrigento is the maximum and utmost expression of this feeling, even because of historical reasons, because Agrigento has been in this part of the island, of course, if you look at a map, it's always been the place a little bit more secluded. than the largest towns, because you have Palermo, which is the capital, and the Trapani area is closer to Palermo for sure. And you have on the other side of Sicily, like Catania as a main place, Taormina, Siracusa. Agrigento has always been a little bit more secluded, and it means at the same time that you really have a Sicily that is more genuine and more authentic, especially in its countryside. Starting from the main and obvious, like, highlight in Agrigento, you have the Valley of the Temples. It's one of the 7 UNESCO World Sites in Sicily. Everyone knows that. The Temple of Concordia, which is the main temple, is the most preserved Greek temple in the world, even more than the Parthenon in Greek, according to a lot of specialists. And it means
Wow.
that you have a unique perspective of what the ancient Akragas, which was the Greek name of Agrigento back in the days, was. So they are 2,500 years old, and you really have this history over there in this valley that is purely preserved and beautiful, and divided the new town, which is up of the hill, and this coastal part of Agrigento. So it's a unique
Okay.
spectacle walking over there, because you feel really like time traveling back in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you have a major projects of sustainability around the Valley of the Temples in terms of agriculture. Personally, as Essence of Sicily's, we are proud to own a garden within the Valley of the Temples, where we actually is a citrus garden that we restored perfectly in the way it used to be 1,000 years ago. It was, handled by the monks, and it was completely abandoned. So we had the possibility to restore it and to put it back in shape right now. And we offered that exclusively for our clients. It's called the Essence of Sicily Secret Garden. Because of that, it's a secret garden, because if you Google it, you wouldn't find it. So it's absolutely like a hidden gems, exclusive for our clients to provide a special touch. But the philosophy is sustainability and local communities. So you have over local agriculture, local food, everything is cultivated in our garden. You have a local chef. So we have chef that cooks there with the famous grandma's recipes. So you really have the tradition that is carried on. And it's like this magical possibility to complete a Valley of the Temples experience. If I were biased about Sicily, I'm super biased about the Essence of Sicily Secret Garden for sure. But I invite everyone to come over, and first of all, you, Whitney, to come to try that, because I'm sure of the outcome. A lot of time is like pointed out in our, feedbacks, like the main highlight of the trip, because of the vibe and the
Yes.
feeling. When you
Yeah.
come to
I
Agrigento,
can
you
confirm.
slow down. You
I
can
can confirm that
confirm.
it's been the highlight. Yes, that it's been the highlight of my clients' trips in the past.
That's fantastic. Super happy to hear that. So, you slow down in Agrigento. It's another vibe. If Sicily is slow, Agrigento is slower. I mean, here the rhythm is crazy slow. You have people, maybe getting angry at each other on the road, not because people are speeding, like, are too slow, but because they're speeding up. Like, where are you going? What do you have to do? Like, it's this vibe and feeling of a very slow rhythm town. You can sense it right away. So it's perfect in this concept of variety, passing by a place where you have more of an active sense of action, to go in a place where you can actually slow down and have a different vibe in discovering. Sometimes when you go
Mm-hmm.
slower, of course, you have more the possibility to visualize, to see, and to metabolize what you have around. And in this matter, the main strength in Agrigento, in my opinion, other than the Valley of the Temples, is its whole countryside. You have a countryside in the Agrigento area that is like little towns like Sant'Angelo Muxaro or San Biagio Platani or Caltabellotta, where you have the possibility to have fantastic experiences that we do provide, and are called the Valdicam experiences, with a fantastic guy that is called Pier Filippo, that makes these beautiful experiences in touch with locals. I believe that Sicily without people is not Sicily. Only highlights is not Sicily. Only people is not Sicily. You gotta have both. So when you go in these little towns, you have the possibility to explore the countryside, which is beautiful and untouched. It's fully nature. You have the possibility to go at a shepherd where you can make ricotta cheese with them. You can go at a local family. You do an hands-on with a Sicilian mom, and you go then to have lunch with them. So are super genuine experiences that we work in luxury tourism. But in my opinion, luxury is not strictly bounded with money. Luxury is bounded with emotions and feelings. So these simple but different and genuine experiences are pure luxury. And in my opinion, that makes Agrigento stand up in this matter in Sicily. And last but not least, you have one of the longest beaches in Sicily. So you really have, I guess, 20 miles, 30 miles of wild beaches, nature reserves where you can actually enjoy the beach. So I'm talking about sandy beaches. So from the Vertura Resort area, like the Sciacca area and Roccoforte, all the
Hmm.
way to almost Licata, you really have sandy beaches. So this whole Agrigento area is absolutely very good for actually have a wild immersion in Sicily with its people, with its beaches, with its elements and nature, and of course the highlights of the Greek heritage of the Valley of the Temples. So this is a thing that of course I care about a lot. And yeah.
As travel professionals, our expertise is everything. But let's be honest, too often it lives in scattered notes in our heads or gets lost after a site inspection or a client call. That's why I created The Hive. It's your expertise vault, a living library where hotel details, destination insights, and advisor takeaways are instantly accessible. And the best part about these conversations on the podcast? You don't need to take notes. Every insight you hear on the Hive Mind podcast is captured and organized inside The Hive. So whether you're just starting out, scaling your business, or leading a team, The Hive makes sure the knowledge you need is right there when you need it. Feel more confident, work more efficiently, and deliver a client experience that truly stands out. Learn more at thehive.travel. Yeah. So I guess I have some just kind of high level logistical questions for you in terms of like how you can
Sure.
fully maximize, because everything that you've discussed that you shared with Western Sicily that you can kind of do from Trapani or those areas seems like those experiences seem amazing. But then everything you've described in Agrigento feels like you could absolutely have 2 or 3 nights there and really have a wonderful experience and fill your days with unique experiences. But I don't think you would have to choose one or the other or both, right? Like to do Agrigento, but explore Western Sicily from Agrigento is a little far and vice versa, right? Or is it close enough that you could do it?
Well,
Okay.
you mean in a day trip
No, I just mean like in terms
from?
of an itinerary. Like, do you feel like someone, if they don't have time to do a 2 or 3 night stay in Trapani and a 2 or 3 night stay in Agrigento, are they kind of facing a decision at this point? Because
Well,
a day
I
trip
mean,
from Agrigento to Trapani feels a little far.
it's absolutely right. So yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
if their profile is strictly and very like keen on authenticity, you can put them both. But like 99% of the cases where you want to provide the variety I was talking about, I agree that you may make a decision of out of the two like
Hmm.
towns. Now,
Hmm.
the thing, in my opinion, the little secret of a Sicilian itinerary all the time is optimizing the on the way experiences that you can have.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
when you have a transfer from a place to another, yeah, if you can really have like, it's game changing a lot of time. So the thing would be staying in one area and understanding what you can do on the way on the other one. So if in my opinion, Agrigento area again is a little bit more complete than the far
Hmm.
western side, even though you really have a lot in the western side. Again,
Hmm.
even in logistical terms, you can either generally have a transfer from Palermo to Agrigento area and doing an experience on the western area on the way. So maybe you
Yeah.
can visit
Perfect.
Erice, you can visit the South Ponds, and you will arrive in Agrigento area, or
Hmm.
and the other way around, of course.
Hmm.
Or you can do like you can overnight stay and enjoy a little bit more the Trapani area, the far western side, and then doing the Valley of the Temples only on the way of a transfer either to Taormina or Siracusa, which make it a longer
Mm,
day, but it's
yeah.
doable and possible. However, is not the optimal solution in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So departing Palermo en route to Syracuse or Ragusa and stopping in Agrigento. Yeah. I I see a lot of that and it's definitely feels a little bit too quick, but sometimes you just got to make decisions, right?
Yeah, that's right. But when it's doable, for instance, if you have people that are like 5 nights, 6 nights in Sicily, but they are super interested in the local touch of Sicily. Okay, let's put them 3 nights in Trapani, 3 nights in Agrigento. That's it. So you will have like this full immersion in this sense of Sicily, where you actually don't have
Hmm.
the amount of days to cover the variety of Sicily. Okay, so maybe you can either make a decision from western side to eastern side, and maybe you do that
Hmm.
according to the client profile. So the thing is, it depends all the time, but it's very good to know that you have options. And yeah, and when you have the knowledge, then you can also understand what you have to give up more easily according to the constraints that you may have.
Yep. So Um, let's when advisors are talking like with a client on a discovery call. So usually this is before the advisor reaches out to someone like yourself, a DMC, to kind of begin planning the trip. What are some questions that you feel would be are important for us to ask in order to kind of pull out all of the nuances and the preferences of the client that enable you and your team to really customize and maximize the opportunity?
Uh, we are, I don't know if we are a peculiar case, but I'm sure that a lot of people work that way. We are not detail oriented. We are obsessed with detail, which is kind of weird because I love personally when I received that big email, like with everything I need to know about the client, like everything. Sometimes advisors brief me with like, this man was like a dancer back in the 60s. He had these experiences in the 70s, whatever. So like the more informations I have, of course, the better I can design something for him, because I need to put myself in their shoes. I guess this is the most important thing in our job, because nowadays everything is personalized. We choose what to watch on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, whatever. We have apps that personalize our experiences. Our researches on Google are personalized. So we are used actually to have everything based on ourselves. So having this knowledge will allow myself not to provide a Sicily that I would feel better, but is the Sicily that I know would be better for them. This is, in my opinion, the key and most important treasure that we have in our job in advisory and as well on the DMCs on my side. So the more information I have, the better, of course. And creating this, synergy with advisors is fantastic, because the advisors will know what we need, so that we will know what the advisor need in terms to have the same outcome, because we want the same
Hmm.
outcome. So generally, of course, dates, characteristics, tastes, backgrounds, mobility issues, dietary restrictions, preferences, and everything, even budget points, if even a ballpark one, could also allow to do a better job, because sometimes, of course, it's tricky. Maybe you don't know the budget, and if I propose something very expensive, in my opinion, it can be like not offensive to the client or the advisor, because I want to provide them with the best, but can also be scary if the budget point is not right. So a lot of time this could be a good thing to know, but I understand that I'm not every time it's possible. However, the more information I got, the better, so that we can create something together. Then I love to have a personal touch, and our team love to have a personal touch with the agent. So a brief, a call, a WhatsApp message, like whatever can be necessary. And what is super important in my opinion, and what we always say to our team is, guys, don't be like shy in putting information on, because we all the time need to provide our advisors to have the tools to go to their clients to explain any single choice, and not only the choices but
Yeah.
also why we didn't choose something else. Because if I only provide you with an itinerary, okay, that's it, this is the best for them, you won't know and you won't be prepared with your clients on
Hmm.
why and because. So this is super important to create these like profound and sometimes scary like email exchanges of that size. But you really need to do that. I mean, we only do B2B. So it's like our only clients are basically agencies, and having this contact and this partnership is super important. So because it's like the dual synergy that will make an outcome that
Hmm.
all the parts want: ourselves, the advisors, and the clients. And
Hmm.
we are a GMC, we are not a concierge. So we need to be vocal, we need to guide, we need to provide our insights, and we need to, have everyone understanding all the options and all the various possibilities. Then, of course, the
Hmm.
choice is open, but transferring this knowledge is the key. I don't know if I answered to
So
your question. Sorry about that.
you you have answered my question, and I think that from my perspective as an advisor, you've described kind of the best case scenario. And what is difficult sometimes is that sometimes we're working with the client for only the first or second time. Sometimes the client doesn't really like to divulge. I mean, sometimes I'm on a call for an hour just hearing about the client's life story. And I know that he was a dancer in the 60s. And other times they don't share anything because they simply don't want
Yeah.
to. So it is a very interesting experience for someone like myself because I'm really in the middle, and I love being in the middle because I love being able to be a part of the creativity and the design and pulling from my expertise and pulling from your local expertise and also building that relationship with the client. And all that said, we don't always have super, super detailed details. So I think that collaboration, as you were describing with the DMC partner, of letting us know like what's possible, not just here's an itinerary, but this is possible and I've included it because I didn't include this because, even those little insights that you share with us are so helpful because it helps us then go back to the client and kind of tell the story and paint the picture. I did want to ask you, we talked a lot about history with Sicily being the mosaic of Italy. And I think what you've described, this is the perfect word, mosaic. And also with the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, we've talked a little bit about the culinary options and availability of experiences. Is there anything available in the Agrigento and Western Sicily region for clients who really love being active and like those soft adventure type of activities? Or is this just not a
Yes.
region that's really going to be great for that type of client?
No, no, it's very good to be honest, because the amount of hiking and discovery that you can actually do over there is very good, because you really have a lot of condensation of nature over there. So, especially in the Agrigento area and the coastal part that is between Sciacca and the Verdura Resort and the Agrigento town, you really have a lot of places and nature reserves where you can actually do jeep experiences, ATV experiences, or AVT,
Cool.
is that like, yeah,
ATV.
uh,
You were right. Mhm.
ATV experiences. You can have jeep excursions, like, and over there you can have an amount of activity that is very good. Then you have some of the best places where to do bike tours, because like bike tours are very tricky in a lot of parts of Sicily. Like for instance, the Taormina area is super tricky. You can do that
Yeah.
on Mount Etna, but otherwise you cannot. Palermo
Mhm.
area you can have in the town, but you can do that somewhere else, but the options are more limited. Agrigento
Mhm.
area, for instance, for bikes is perfect. You can do fantastic experiences with, especially we work close with a friend of us that is called Dario, like myself, that makes fantastic active bike experiences, like softer ones and active, more active ones in the countryside of Agrigento that are beautiful. Same thing applies to the far western part of Sicily, where you really have the possibility to like merge, because it's more like flat. So especially in the coastal part, and you can have the possibility to have very nice hiking and very nice bike tours over there. And there's another guy that works very well, especially in excursions with Defender or Jeeps, in that part where you can actually discover the same places but with a different narrative, with secondary roads, more off-road experiences where you can, go ahead and try to see the places in a different perspective. You can see the same place, but you can, if the journey is different, you will have
Hmm.
different vibes. So of course, if you don't pass by the highway and you go like off roads with a jeep or like another means of transportation, you can actually gather a better vibe in terms of the territory where you
Yeah.
will that you will cross through. So it's a super fair question, and over there you have the possibility to do that because you have more space. You have more space in
Hmm.
between the towns, in between, like, so you have more nature, which is very good. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm really happy I asked you about that because I think that um, the history and the culture and the food and the authenticity is always there. But then when you can kind of infuse something that's a little bit different than maybe the other areas that they'll visit on the trip, then that just kind of helps to provide some variety and activities and experiences and really kind of breathe some life into the itinerary. So that's really awesome. Dario, I really, really appreciate your time today diving into all things Agrigento and Western Sicily. This really does feel like a hidden gem of a region in Sicily, and I'm really looking forward to exploring it myself in person sometime soon. But I appreciate all of your time and all the insights shared today.
I really appreciate your time, Whitney, and your kindness. A very good job on this podcast. I guess it's absolutely a hidden gem itself. So
Thank you.
really keep going like that. And I'm really, really proud on behalf of Essence of Sicily to have been part of it.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Hive Mind podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. And if you know a friend or colleague who would enjoy this, please share it with them. If you would like insights from this episode landing in your inbox each week, join our newsletter at thehive.travel/podcast. And remember, if you'd like to contribute to a future episode, whether it's sharing your destination expertise or your experience touring hotels, just head to thehive.travel/podcast to learn more and express your interest. We'd love to have you join the conversation. Until next time.